Today I'm going to be showing you how to use and operate a Texas Instruments TI-89 titanium. So first, how do you get the most basic thing done? Well, this thing is a GraphLink calculator, and it can do certain calculus things. So why don't we start out with the most simple feature, the menu. This lets you select different programs to load and has a shortcut for doing settings and editing categories to display on screen. And let's start with a simple operation, which is the home menu. This menu does the simple calculation that similar calculators that are GraphLink calculators before this was released did only. So this has it in addition to its built-in software. So let's do something. Let's do something along the lines of, well, let's do a simple operation. Let's do a adding operation. So let's try 1 plus 1. That equals 2. And let's check that on the calculator. So then we will do 1 plus 1, so 1 plus 1. This thing doesn't have a backlash, it's a simple LCD screen. That's as 1 plus 1, so let's do that. And we have the result, which is 2. And then if you want to clear everything in there, you do clear home. And then you hit the clear button to clear the input. And calculator 1 plus 1 results 2. Which means that means the basic function of the calculator is working. Let's do something different. Let's do 2 times 2. Or we can do A and S times 2. So if we do 1 plus 1, 2, then we clear this, then we hit the multiplication key, and we can see A and S 1, which then we do 2 times 2, which then that initializes the first result in the answer buffer, or in the result buffer you could call it, and then that when you add the result, when you multiply the result buffer by the next number, that results in the next answer buffer output, which is the next answer. And then you can do this again, you can divide that by 2 again, and that just gets you, so then that gets you 4 divided by 2, which is 2. And then you can clear this out, divide that by 2, and then that gets you back to the original, that gets you back to 1. And then you can also step into earlier equations with this just by hitting this. So here there's the result, and if you can hit this, they'll input it, and then you can do things like that. That's just an example of what it can do. And then we can clear home, and then so in this case A and S equals this equals 4. So that's like this. Now let's try doing something. Let's try doing 4 times 2 times 2 divided by 1. This is kind of a complicated operation. So let's do that. So we're going to do, escape. We're going to do 4 times 2 times 2 divided by 1. Go. That's 16. Because when you do this 4 times 2, that's 8, and 8 times 2 is 16. And dividing it by 1, that does nothing, because doing that just returns it to the original number. So that's 16. And that's completely correct, because when you divide by 1, that's redundant. That's just redundant. That doesn't do anything. It has to be a greater than 1 for any actual result in this scope on this calculator. Now, if you want, right now, what we're also going to do, we're going to clear, we're going to, you can also just hit the number button for a function in this menu. So if you want to clear home, you can literally just hit the key 8 and it'll do so. So let's just put some, just to show you, let's just prove that putting in a random number, and then if I hit 8, that clears the actual memory, but doesn't clear the input buffer until you hit the clear key or just backspace it. Now let's do something with graphing. So I'm going to set up a basic equation, which is sine x. This is like the most simple equation you can do on a graphing calculator. Basically, that equals in a sine wave of the variable x. X equals 10, and the sine of x, sine x equals that, because that results in a sine wave. And you can do more things. I think if you use the SGN sine function, you can do square waves and stuff. So let's gonna hit the second key. What you're gonna want to do, pay attention. This blue means you need to hit the second key in order to start in order to initialize the operation and actually input it. So in this case, if you want to hit sine, you want to make sure when you hit the second key, you're going to toggle this variable on the screen that's hard-coded into the operating system. You're going to toggle the second, and if that's toggled on, so if that's appearing, then you can just hit Y, that gives you sine, that turns off second, then you hit X, and then you hit the close parentheses key, so X, then close parentheses, then you hit enter, and then that check mark means it's been stored, which then you hit second, or no, you hit, no, not that, you hit this, and that's the result. So, you can also do more things. If you want to get back to it, you can't just hit the F1 key. You need to hit escape, and you go second, and then you hit green key, then you hit F1. And then you can do things like this. So I can do. So I can do this. I'm getting distracted here. Okay, yeah, so if you want to edit that, you have to hit enter to then get into the input buffer. And then I can add times x, which I believe will do a parabola. No, that's not a parabolic equation. However, that does do I think that's a quadratic sine wave or something. It's like this, and then you can do things like if we did cos and then the ln of x times x, but you can initialize other operations while it's inside of an operation. This is called operation nesting of sub-operations inside of a main operation / function. I know it's complicated, but it's easy to understand if you get the hang of it. And some of these functions, see this bat thing that appears when the batteries are low. And some functions take a long time to actually get out on this thing because it's not a super powerful processor that's inside of one of these. I mean, this thing is from 2004? Yeah, 2004. Advanced Mathematics Software, OS version 3, hardware version 3. This is the original. This is a hardware version 3. I also have an HW version 4 TI-89 titanium, but I have that someplace else in here. You can do things like this too. So if you want to, if you want to do something like with variables, then you refer to the TI-89 manual, which I don't have in this place, but I have it in the room, but I don't, not here, and I don't want to bring that up right now. But I'm pretty sure you can also do things like, if you want to type, this thing also has a text editor, right here, text editor, and you can open a document, and the variable is the name, but you can also open the current one, but if there is no current document, it'll just ask you to create, and this variable is the name of the document. In order to type letters, you hit this key, the alpha key. What that does is that enables alphanumeric mode, which these white characters here, these white characters only get typed if you hit alpha, because the color of the text denotes what button you have to press in order to get to it. So for example, in order to get to F6, you have to hit second then F1. Or if you want to get to the Y equals editor, you need to hit the green key and then F1. And you just keep track of that. In this case, here, there is no blue function. It's just table set and table. And this, I believe, means for this white stuff here, this doesn't have anything to do with alpha. This is just normal scrolling. And then this is like speed scroll, and then higher speed scroll. But that doesn't apply to here because I think only on certain programs is this speed scrolling. But in order to type it, let's just type the alpha. So you want to make sure this A key, you hit the alpha key. This means that it's in lowercase, but if it's here, that means it's in uppercase, but if it's not there, then that means it's not turned on. So I want to do uppercase. So then I'm going to do, so I have A on, so then we are going to find the T key, which is here. T. Actually, well, you're actually supposed to hit this in order, because then it does this. You need to hit this to make it uppercase. That's uppercase. And you can lock the uppercase. Well, I don't think actually you can lock the uppercase. You need to do this, and then T, and then it goes E. And then you hit uppercase again. Then you hit S, S, and then you hit T again. And then you can see we have typed the word. We have typed the word test. So then you hit enter, and then that completes it, and then you hit enter again to actually do it. And then that means you can type things, and it's not just limited to alphanumeric. It also can do standard, numeric, and extended characters on the calculator. So if you want to type in pi, I just do that, and as you can see, you have pi. So that is how you do that. And then if you want to do this special D character, you just do that. That means derivative. If you want to do an operation, so if you want to write down math into here, you can just hit, and you can do 7 times 7. It's not going to actually calculate the operation for you, but you can then write down, so it's like a line by line thing, and you can just write down. I calculated that myself. Sometimes 7 is not 14. 7 plus 7 is 14. Yeah, I'm getting my brain confused kind of here, but boom. So now you know how to do text editing functions, and you just hit enter. One thing that you will notice that when you're past an existing line, it extends that. Well, that is because then it's multiplying the position of where you are at to where you're actually at, if that makes any sense. Which means it's going to increment this position based on which line you are already, where the cursor is incremented at, and then it's a hex number internally. And if you want to be able to do this, if you want to clear the entire thing, you need to hit clear editor. Clear the contents of the editor, are you sure? If you hit yes, then that will clear your current text document. And if you want to, I'll show you how to type the hello world message. So just type alpha. Then you want to search for the H key, which is on the 8. Right? And then if you want to make that uppercase, you go back, and then you just hit that key again to replace it with the uppercase version of that. Make it H. Then what do alpha, which is already on again. Then you would like to do this, which since it's in caps, because I basically have just said, because when you do this, that reinforces that to be caps lock. So basically, that's just how you do caps lock. So when that's a capital A, and that has black behind it, that's how you know it's locked to alpha and it's uppercase. That's caps lock uppercase. So then you want to hit L. Where's L? There we go. You want to hit, whoops. You're going to want to hit L, and then O. Oh, come on, where's O? There we go. Hello, and then you can hit enter, and that'll still preserve your current state. And then you can hit the backspace key. You can hit the clear key to clear a line. And then we can do such things as this. If you hold uppercase, that's basically denoted as a shift. That means shift. And then you're going to hit copy, and then that is put it in, and then you do this. Then you're going to hit paste, which has pasted that. And then if you want to, and then for this example, if you want to clear out a line, you just hit the clear key, and that clears out the current line. And if you want to save, you do it. You don't really have the option of saving already, because every time you put in something new, it just saves it to its built-in flash ROM. And then if you want to reload it, again, there it is. And it doesn't save it to its RAM or anything, because, well, the thing with this is that it's not, I don't remember if it's persistent storage or anything, but there is a set of, well, actually, if you want to power the calculator off, just hit second, and then the on key, which is just fitting, goes off. And when you hit the on key, what's in second, turns it off. And if we pop this open, you can see we have batteries, and then under here, there is there's a 303, I think it's a CR303, really small backup battery. It's an SR44SW battery. We can see copyright TI 2004. This thing's patented. And up here is where you put a label for a name. Get your approval, and then you have your hardware ID, and then you have your hardware type ID or whatever that is. And then I think this is for mounting it into the CBL2 module. That's something that we can get into in a later part. But yeah, that's something else that we can get into. And if you want to slide it back in, you just take the calculator, you snap in one side, and then you just push it until the feet inside there align with the indents inside the case. Then you can plop it down on there happily and do your work. Now we're going to get into how to do basic system tasks. So as you can see on mine, the clock has been reset because, well, it is Y2K compliant, but however, sometimes if you do a firmware update, it might actually clear the clock. That happens sometimes. I don't know entirely what that depends on. I just know that happens. So if you want to change the clock, go to F1, you hit F1, and you go to clock, or you just hit the 4 key. So in this case, I'm going to hit 4. Then you have a very simple, it looks kind of complicated. It's not very much complicated. You just follow this guide. So, time format. So, in this case, I wanted it to be 12 hours because that's just simpler to read. That's basically what everyone uses. And then we want to know the hour. So, I'm going to look at my microwave over there, and I'm going to say 12 because it's currently 12. And then I'm going to, not 11. I'm going to put 12:17, be 1 minute ahead. And then that's PM. And then the date format. And then we can put in 2026, the month. That would be August. Then the day is the 15th. It's the 11th. And then we're going to set the clock to on. But however, if you do set it to off, and that just grays out all these options. However, you can set it back to on, and then hit enter. As you can see, well, actually it cleared out all my settings right there, but we can just do this again. So now it's 12:17, so I'm going to set 12:18 p.m., then 2026, then, wait, no, it's not January 15th, it's August 11th, and then you just hit enter to store that, and hit enter again, and now finally, it is synced up. So, now, the clock is actually synced up. That's what I set there. Now let's go over how to set up with a computer, or how to set up with a computer. But actually, we're not going to get into that right now. What I want to focus on right now is also just the pre-built apps. So let's move over the computer for that. You didn't think I was actually going to move to the computer, did you? That was a trick. We're actually not moving to the computer right now. Because, well, we don't need the computer right now. For all those tech literate people like me, you thought we were going to move to the computer, but we're not. We're not. This video is about this, not the computer right now, even though this is kind of a computer. Well, it literally is a computer, just as a calculator. I mean, you can literally use this thing as a full-blown computer, but it's not as useful as a computer is. It can be, it's just not set up to be, right? Anyway, so what should we dive into next? Well, let's pull the camera back. So, let's, I don't know what we should do. Let's see if we can set up some tasks. So, if you want to set up tasks, let's just follow the software setup guide that's given us. Hint, press F2 to create new task. F2, follow these. These are like the function keys on the computer keyboard, but there's a 5 of them here. Let's just hit F2, and I guess we can lock it to caps lock M, and then alpha again. Where's K? And then if you want to space that, you hit alpha, and then the negative key, which gives you a space. In hex, a space. In normal encoding is the bytes. 20 or 20, which is 0x20 or 20 equals space. So that was just a little bit of directive for it. Now I'm just going to type in something here. So and then I can hit F1, done, and then category not file do none. I'm not sure what that means, but that is something. So we can also hit F6. So you need second F6. Or no, I was reading it wrong. It's not F6. It might be a little hard to see. Definitely is hard to see. But that's actually F2. And it automatically set up the priority as 3-3. Or the ratio of priority is 3-3. So, and So we can set this actually to 5 if we wanted, or something lower. And then you can set a due date. So yeah, the day, yeah, we can do that. So it's due today, I guess. Due the 11th. And then you just hit enter to do that. And then F3 category. Let's file that under personal. And then F1. And we can, so that is the file information right there. So that tells you category personal, due 08/11/26, which is what we set it to be. And then F6 task complete. No, because I'm currently making this video, and you can edit it here. However, we can put it down to priority 3, and that changes that. And then I believe that square, that unfilled square, means that it's not complete. However, I'm not gonna do that right now. But if we were to, okay, yeah. So this F3 thing, that check mark means complete, but the unfilled square, the square, means not complete. So I guess that means busy, working on it, and completed the task. So busy, completed the task, busy. So right now we are busy making this video, so I'm setting that to busy, priority 3. Now let's figure out how to do basic other things. I don't know what any of this means. I am not a financial expert. I don't plan to be. So let's get out of finance. I don't really happen to care a whole lot about finance. I don't really like to worry about that. I don't want to worry about that. So we're just going to leave that. Alone. Study cards, I've never had to actually use this before, so I don't really know what this is for. Open stack, I don't know what it is. Study cards, I don't know what that's for. I don't need that. I have no idea what that means, but I'm guessing that's like flashcard software. Because of that icon, I'm gonna guess that's flashcard software. I don't really use flashcards that often, so I'm not gonna be messing around with that in this video. Maybe in another video we'll be messing around with the extended features. Now, let's do something like, let's mess around with stats/list editor. Create new folder. So let's just call it 1. So just type in, oh wait. See, this automatically enables alpha mode, but it can tell it to not do that. Now it's just a 1. Enter. Invalid variable function name. Oh, I forgot. You can't use numbers. You can't use numbers because then that interferes with the system stuff. I forgot. You can't use numbers in file or folder names on this operating system. That's just not allowed. So I'm just gonna have to type in test manually. So I'm going to do T. Oh my god. Wait a minute. I did not do that correct. My brain was not processing this correctly. bam, create a new folder, and that's test, and now we can do things like this. So let's just make, well, thing is, I actually have no idea how to do this. I don't really know what the software is really for. I guess it's for making number lists. Well, I guess I can do that. I guess this might be for doing, I guess this is probably for creating lists of numbers, but then you would name each list. So like if you were taking like math notes, or something, then I guess I could see how that could be useful, but I don't really do that often, so I'm probably not gonna use that. But if you want to figure out how to use that, well, then you would refer to the TI-89 manual. Anyway, to finish off the video, so I can finally just edit it later in a bit. I'm going to show you how to do contacts. So I'm just going to make sure I don't, well, I'm going to have to blur that out. But yeah, I'm going to clear all contacts. There we go. And now I'm going to hit a new contact. And let's just, I'm not gonna put anyone's actual name there, so I'm just gonna come up with a fake name. That's not what I was trying to do. Hello. Ding, ding. Oh God. Back. Okay, okay, I figured out a name. So, ding, 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 bing. I'm just going to write Eric Stevenson. That's just a made up name. I promise you I don't know anyone who's named that. I'm not aware of anyone who's named that. I'm just making this up purely for demonstration purposes. I promise you, I'm sure I am making up this name for demonstrational purposes, and I am not attempting to impersonate or show anyone's personal information or PII. Personally identifiable information, I am sure. Let's just say, I don't know, let's say he works for Intel Corporation. Intel, and then I'm going to put in order to do commas, I believe that this is the comma, I think. No, that is not the comma, that is the apostrophe. How do you do commas on this? I forgot how to do commas. Frick. How do you do commas? Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, I have completely forgot how to do commas. I don't see a comma key on here. Oh my god, I was hiding in plain sight. Oh my god, it's right there. I was spending all my time looking at the other things. Oh, help. Yeah, that happens all the time. I see things that are hiding in plain sight, even though my vision's like crystal clear. Like they're hiding in plain sight, I didn't see it. Although sometimes I get lucky and this doesn't happen. I don't know why. It's probably something to do with the brain thing I have. I don't have like any brain condition or anything. It's just that I have I'm a little bit I'm like autistic, so this happens sometimes. Yeah, I'm autistic, so this happens. Um, yeah. T, then I, O, where's N, and I don't. There's plenty of space there. I don't know what limits that, but yeah, I can sure. Yeah, we're just gonna skip. Well, I guess I can put in a number. Yeah, let's just do. I guess I don't think back then they supported 7-digit dialing anymore. So why don't we just do this? And I'm in alpha mode, so that's not helping. I'm gonna take myself out of alpha mode. I'm just gonna make up a random phone number. There, 852-695-0025. Hopefully that is no one's actual number. I'll just do 503-655-965. Mobile 503 656. Let's just pretend this Eric Stevenson has his own special dedicated mobile phone line that Intel has provided him with. I don't know if they actually do that. I'm just guessing here. 503-656-9564. I firmly believe that is not. I've never had to call Intel before, so I'm a bet you that is not his number. I'm bet you that is not the Intel number. Yeah. Pager. I don't know how pager codes are actually. I don't know how pager numbers are made, so we're gonna skip that. Fax, we can say 503-9658. Well, that's actually too many numbers. It's 965-9688. That's his fax. And we can just say his email. I don't know. Let's put in an email. Um. Okay, now we have the first name. So now I'm going to put in the actual the part. Where's the at sign key? Where is the at sign key? Where do you put that in? Well, in this case, in order to put in keys that you don't have that are not on your keyboard, you're actually gonna want to hit catalog, because this has a whole bunch of things that I don't have. So this has the at sign somewhere. If I can find it. Do I not have an at sign key? Why does this not have an at sign? There is nowhere on this that has an at sign. What? I don't understand. I genuinely, I'm confused. I am confused. I don't have an at sign? Are you serious? Well, I don't have an at sign. That's kind of disappointing. So I have a comma. I don't have any. I have a comma. I don't have a at sign. That sucks. That sucks. So how do I do that? No. I'm just gonna put in Eric Stevenson. Who cares? Store that, and now we have this. For this I here, I believe that's the number. That might be a 1. That's probably not a 1, because a 1, that's an I, and a 1 looks different. Eric Stevenson, I spelled that wrong. I put an I there, but this is just for demonstration purposes. I'm sure no one's gonna care. But you can put it in a name, and then that's the number, and then it's a H that means home. And it says view email. So yeah, Stevenson Eric, Intel Corporation. So we can view all the information there. Escape, and if you want to edit, you can do that. And if you want to delete it, you can do that. And if you want to clear all, you just hit yes, and then there's no context. So that's going to conclude my guide on how to use the TI-89 titanium. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you learned something. If you did, just hit that like button down below. If you didn't like it, just hit that dislike button. And it really helps out the channel. Thanks to viewers like you. Thank you. Goodbye. This concludes this presentation about the TI-89 titanium calculator. I hope you enjoyed. Bye-bye.